Sorry.
ठीक है.
It's October now. That's why.
Psycho's nerves are like this throughout the year. एक मिनट अपना AC on है क्या?
Street Fighter.
Lip balm. I have lip
No,
balm.
no.
Do you want lip balm? I have lip balm.
Guys, welcome to Mixed Up. This is what we talk about most of the time.
I'm SmokedShip.
And I'm Psycho.
And I'm Kankicks.
And this seems like a new setup. It's quite different
It's a
from
new
last
setup.
time. Kankicks' idea. We're just trying something new. Let's see how it goes. And
What do you mean, let's see how it goes? We have already spent time, energies, effort
We
into
have.
building this.
we have. It has to go well, obviously.
We specially made this table.
You can drink water.
Okay, so what are we going to talk about?
We were thinking about talking about the games we completed, sort of, during this absence, our sabbatical long leave of absence. So let's start with you. Because you picked up the drink of
notes
water.
and all. You're ready. I'm not even ready.
What happened was they basically came on the topic, did not inform me, made the notes and told me that this is what life is like. Your DS. Psycho later right now. Psycho, what are we talking about? And Kankicks was like,
That's okay. So let's start with the game that I've completed.
Okay.
We'll
Game
talk
only
about
or games?
One game that I've completed.
Okay.
That is Ratchet and Clank, because you've also played it, and we can have a healthy discussion on it.
Okay. We're just talking about one game?
Well, let's start with one game. I've just completed it. I wanted to know your thoughts on it, and then I'm going to give my thoughts.
So which one? Rift Apart?
Rift Apart. I
Oh,
played
okay,
both.
okay.
If you want to talk about the previous one also, we can talk about
I
that
played
also.
the previous one on the PS4. I didn't play it on the PS5, and I didn't finish it. I played it when when it had originally come on PS2. After that, I played a bit of I think it was the remaster on PS4, and then I didn't replay it. Just now, I just jumped straight into Rift Apart, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. So you can start talking about it. What do you think?
Like I told you, first few levels I found it didn't click with me. I found the previous one to be much tighter. This one I felt it's too loose, it's too open. There's not much to do around. So I'm just traveling around. I'm probably speed boasting, but I could not. It just didn't click with me. But after the third level, I'm not going to give spoilers. So I'm not going to narrate what exactly happens. But after the third level, it really picks up. It gets tighter. It gets focused. And it's a joyride.
Third world, I guess, right?
Third world.
It's divided into worlds.
It's into
mostly,
world.
yeah.
The third world, right before the pirate world, it starts getting exciting.
Okay, yes. That's when you get the skates. Those
Yes, you get the
rollerblade,
skates and
jet
all.
skates or something.
Exactly. And I think so. The pirate world was a phenomenal level. The whole setup where you find this big robot
Yeah,
just basically going to repair something for
Yes,
you.
yes. That wasn't the pirate world.
That was the pirate world.
That scrapyard world.
Scrapyard
Yeah,
world. The
that was
pirate world
after
where
the
you-
pirate world.
Yes, that's after the.
After the pirate world. Yeah.
No, that's not
yeah.
after the pirate
No,
world.
that was after. I remember
See, you're talking about the harbor area. I think so. What you're referring
the
to
pirate area was where there's that amusement park type thing. You know, there's that amusement park type world, sort of.
So he's
That's not the pirate world. That's a junkyard world, if I remember correctly, because daylight.
It's
when
a
you're
daylight.
there. Yeah, pirate world's all at night.
It's a mountain area. Yeah, it's a scrapyard, and it's filled with pirates. There's a specific reason why it is. So that's where the game started to click with me.
Okay.
And probably at that particular point of time, weapons, there were more than enough weapons, creative weapons that I had. I'd unlocked them. I had few power-ups for them also. I'd upgraded them. So it just started to click with me. And then after that, it was a joyride. It's a good platformer, a tight platformer. If you enjoy platform games, action platform games, you're going to enjoy it. If you do not enjoy platform games, then I don't see that it's going to change your mind.
Okay.
Because I don't
Psycho played a bit of it?
No, I haven't played. That's why I can't be a part of this conversation.
But you saw it.
I
Quite a
saw
bit of
what
it.
I saw was amazing. And I can't wait to play it because Ratchet and Clank has always been a very integral part of my life. I think the first game I ever played on a PlayStation was Ratchet and Clank. So that's why it has a very, very special place for me. I remember I played it so much, and for us in India, we didn't have, I mean, especially for us, like you had some good stuff you had access to, we didn't have. So I remember when I played it, seeing that world, my eyes opened, and I remember that day when I slept, I dreamt of that world, and I was like, what is this? I can't stop thinking about it, and I want to get back to it. So that is why I've just reserved it for a special time, and I can play it properly and enjoy
Once
it.
you finish FF50.
Yes, which is another open world.
So I played Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Yes, the beginning, what you talk about, especially the first 1 or 2 worlds, they seem a bit intimidating. Because the first Ratchet and Clank was not necessarily open world. It gave that illusion of being open because of the vast draw distances, environments, and those big cities, futuristic cities and all that. But mostly it was pretty linear. Being a platformer, there is always, it's not a corridor shooter. So there are always some largish spaces here and there in the level design. But it wasn't as open worldy as what this is, as Rift Apart.
And I think so that's my biggest problem with the game was because I felt it's neither being an open world, neither being a tight platform. So I think for some games, a little bit of openness does open up the gameplay. But for me, because a platformer, when by nature, it has to be very tightly designed.
But then if you look at that, even I wouldn't say that for this because this was in a category of what I would consider the perfect balance. It's like what Uncharted 4 was. So there was enough exploration so that your appetite is satisfied. You don't feel that you were shortchanged or something. It was too short a game or something like that. At the same time, it wasn't ridiculous like AC or Ghost of Tsushima or anything like that where you just have to keep traveling and collecting stuff. It doesn't end, and then you just get fed up of it. It wasn't like that. So it was, if you look at platformers, then even Mario, Super Mario, what was it? Odyssey. That also was pretty vast in its worlds. There was nothing very tight about it. It was just loose all over the place. And honestly speaking, I know why it got so much attention. I would easily consider a game like this over that. And I enjoyed the characters, the voice acting, the visuals. The control schemes were fantastically done. I mean, the stuff they're using in this is what they'll probably be using for many games to come. Like the half trigger pull for aim, full trigger for attack, and secondary fire, using the dual sense to its complete effect.
Coupled with the sound
design
was awesome.
The visuals. It's like a really good Pixar movie with a lot of detail which you're interacting with it. Beautifully done. Considering Insomniac has worked on this and they're working on so many other IPs, was a big deal. The other thing was the way they have introduced new characters. I don't want to talk about all of them, but Rivet everyone knows from the trailer. Her and so many others, and they've brought them in. They don't feel forced. You really want to get to know them. You know Ratchet already, but these new characters just seem like it was the right time for them to introduce them. So I enjoyed it. It was fantastic.
What about the bugs? How many bugs did you face?
I don't think I faced many. I don't even remember facing any bugs in the game.
Me personally, I did have a couple of bugs. Nothing that was game breaking, but there were some textures that are not loading, or the invisible walls, or you get stuck in the air. So those kinds of bugs, and which should not bother me. But because this game has so much polish, every aspect of this game has so much polish, so those little things also, they stand out.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I think so everything, sound design was phenomenal. One of the best sound design in terms of, plus if in case you couple sound design with your gunplay, when the shells are shattering, the kick you're getting, and just then you're getting that crackling sound.
It was beautifully, what's the word? Really tightened the graphics, the sync between the visuals and it was just beautifully polished. There's some parts like you talked about the hub world. There's that truck stop area where there are these gladiatorial battles, and there's that cafe inside which is like the cantina of Star Wars. Those purple rifts, when you see them in the sky and on the horizon, they're excellently done, phenomenal.
From a world design perspective, this was amazing and
spectacular.
I think so. This is one of the games where you would actually see, whenever we talk about SSD or fast loading times, things like that, from a game perspective, when you're talking, it does not make sense because you have to show something. So fair enough, you have fast loading times, but is there a game that actually showcases it? This was a game
Yes.
where actually they put the technology to good use.
Yes.
So it's not just saying about see it's blazing fast
Yeah.
or zero loading times.
Exactly.
They showed it to you.
Yeah.
And that's what I think when it comes to Horizon or God of War, which is going to be on PlayStation 4. You have this thing in mind. Will they even take the advantage of the PlayStation 5 hardware?
That's true.
I think they would, because they had come out with, there was some
I think like God of War, whenever I used to play it, the PlayStation, that fan would come on, and the PS4 Pro, the fan would come on, you could hear it till all the other rooms.
It would come on the menu.
I know, on the menu,
On the
like the
menu
game has
screen.
not even loaded, and we're like, whee!
It's ridiculous. I'm in the menu of God of War. In the menu. And this thing's going nuts.
So we were like, if people are playing it on ordinary PS4s, they must be flying by now around the room. So,
Actually.
So I think on the PS5 perhaps that won't happen.
Hopefully.
The neighbors won't be hearing the fan.
Hey, they had come out with a stat comparison of what they'll be negating on the PS4 versus the PS5. There was this, I'm not sure which game it was for, but there was this side-by-side comparison of this would have this, that would have that. But I do find it a little silly that they're even allowing it to come on a PS4 now.
I
And
think
this,
so, from a business perspective, sorry to cut you, it
Yeah.
makes sense because PS4,
Yeah.
PS5, you can't even find a
no,
PS5.
you can't.
It's so
find it.
hard.
I think that's the reason
So
why
that's
they're
the
doing
reason
it.
why. See, if in case you're into business and you're the marketing and the sales guy,
Yes.
you're never going to say that we're going to gimp on something or
No.
we're going to give the PlayStation 5 full justice. I feel there will be compromises no matter what. You give a developer just one console and one hardware
Yes.
to work with, he's going to do wonders.
Yeah.
And that is why a game like Ratchet and Clank cannot work with PS4.
No, it
That's
cannot.
true.
The kind of dimensions
It
and how
cannot.
you shift between
It'll be a
dimensions.
wreck.
So it's just going to take you out of immersion. If just you're clicking something, you're just grappling towards a new dimension, and the dimension changes, and you have a loading screen.
Just
It's
imagine
going
the draw distance, the way they, that equipment of you switching from one thing to another when you teleport. It's crazy the way they visualize it coming through that. I mean, even now when you see it, you start getting a bit zonked.
and just think the guts of Insomniac and Sony
Yeah.
to put that kind of money and investment
Yeah.
and into something
Your phone
as
should be on silent.
because honestly speaking, Ratchet and Clank is not a mass market game.
No,
So
it's
it's
not.
not God of
Not
War.
at all.
And they actually backed it up.
Yeah.
Insomniac was given basically a clean check,
Yes.
a written check, not a clean check, but an open check that they can just write the amount and spend as much as you can. And we're going to invest into Ratchet and Clank, which is nowhere a mass market product.
Yeah.
So that was, I think, so that showcases that Sony
Yes.
is willing to invest into. the best example is Death Stranding.
I was going to say that.
I mean, if they can do a Death Stranding, they can do anything.
And what's the new? That's what I wanted to ask you. What do you think about the new Death Stranding director's cut?
We've not played it, so till the time we don't
I
play it, we
mean,
don't.
from what I heard, people were saying, oh, I've just got through, I think they were Knot cities they were called, no? Which you link up.
Yes.
They were saying we've just breached the third Knot city, which is pretty significant. And we can't really tell you what was so great. So from that, I feel I don't understand what's so great in it, because either it should show you significant differences, that if it is a so-called director's cut and it's this fine, it's so much FPS higher, your resolution is higher and all that, which it wasn't low in any way that in Death Stranding. It was a pretty crisp game to play on 4K HDR and everything. So seeing that there's not much of a difference in that, I don't see the point. But yes, they say it uses the haptic feedback of the controller, so heavier your load is, the heavier the triggers get to pull back. But then they say that when you have to hold those for 20 minutes at a time, your fingers will start paining, and that's pretty Kojima. I mean, where he literally wants you to feel
While the baby's crying.
while the baby's crying. So I don't know. It would be fun to jump back into it. I don't know how much is it for. They say it's a $10 upgrade from the regular.
It's a $10 upgrade,
digitally.
but digitally. No, even if you have a physical copy, you have a $10 upgrade.
But that's if you get it digitally. If you buy
I
the
think so. You have to
direct,
get
not
it
the
digitally.
physical.
Not the
Yeah.
physical
Physical
one.
will be 60,
So
70
right now the official price in India is $2,500
for the physical.
not $2,500, $3K. So
For what?
2999
For the physical.
for the physical one.
Okay.
Oh,
The PlayStation 5 version physical.
that's not bad, I would say.
That's good for
That's not
someone
bad.
to try. And there
For
was
some-
no bug
yes.
in it. There was
and
absolutely no
it
bug.
didn't exactly do all that well, so this would be a good opportunity for some people
to try it out.
try it out.
Tried it, yes,
तो
yeah.
सोनी वालों ने कहा कि चलो एक बार दोबारा ट्राई कर
Try कर लेते
Let's just
हैं।
Kojima. Let's
But
let's
again,
try.
you know,
let's put director's
yeah,
cut on it.
let's put director's
Let's
cut.
put the MGS song.
Yeah.
Let's put the
Let's
MGS
put
I
a
know.
level of MGS in it
nostalgia.
also. Yeah.
The MGS fans are going to
MGS
pick it
fans are
up.
going to go crazy. Let's put a box. So they should have put quiet on the cover or something maybe.
Yeah.
They would have or
Then they'll get sued.
Sniper
na?
Wolf or
No,
something.
then they'll
Yeah,
get sued.
Konami will come after them.
Because only you see is Norman Reedus.
Yes.
The shower.
ये that जगह normal readers are quietly क्या सब लोग.
I know.